The future is right around the corner, according to Saudi Arabia and their newest prototypical city called The Line. This technological marvel will revolutionize modern living, and in today's video, we're going to be shining a light on this potential triumph and take a look at what we can expect from The Line, what it has to offer, and when we can expect it to be completed. So stick around because this is going to be the first of, I'm sure, many deep dives into the world of tomorrow. First off, what is The Line and why is everyone so excited about it? If you've been living under a rock and have literally no idea what The Line is, first of all, what are you doing? And second of all, strap on because you're about to be blown away. The Wall is the newest innovation in urban living according to Neo, the company responsible for the design and eventual construction of The Line. And from what we've been shown so far, they appear not to be kidding. The Line is a massive linear structure meant to house over 9 million people while using only reusable energy and saving roughly 95% of its total space for plant life. I know it sounds like a dream, but it may be reality in the near to mid-future. The Line is named due to the fact that it is literally just a huge line in the middle of the desert. Built only 200 meters wide, but close to 170 kilometers long and 500 meters above sea level, making it a literal line in the sand. Aside from all of the upsides I just mentioned, The Line will also have no vehicles other than a high-speed rail line that takes passengers from one end of the line to the other in less than 25 minutes. In addition to that, The Line boasts a walking distance to any major landmark such as grocery stores and other shops to be under 5 minutes. And what may be the best feature of this entire project, the weather will never change and will be kept at an ideal warm to hot temperature all year round. No heat waves and no blizzards. It seems like an impossible dream of science fiction, but in fact it may be the next step in city evolution. So when can we expect to see this beast? How long does it take to build a sand castle? While this may be a technical castle and it finds itself in sand, it cannot really be called a sand castle, can it? This architectural gem will certainly be difficult to complete and will of course not come easily. Rome wasn't built in a day after all, am I right? But as of 2022, we actually do not have to wait too much longer for The Line to be completed. According to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the chairman of the NEOM board of directors, The Line is only about 8 years away from completion, meaning that we should see the first phase of The Line completed by the year 2030. Of course, delays and other unforeseen issues could push the date back a few years, but as of right now, they are on schedule according to the press release made by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The project was originally slated to be completed by 2025, however, some delays have pushed that back to the date we have been given. In my opinion, having a gigantic, completely green livable line be complete in another 10 years is astounding. I mean, the thing is literally 170 kilometers long, which would mean that if you were to drive the entire length of the line going highway speed, it would take you just under 2 hours, depending on how many times you have to stop to pee. But in all seriousness, this is something that the world has never seen, and while there will be doubters who believe that this will not be the future of architecture, it is hard to look at this and not at least be intrigued. This could be the future of humanity. Living in tight lines like this one would allow for so many people to live in such a small area that it would allow for the planet to retake some natural green space. Not only that, but it would drastically reduce emissions over time, potentially putting a huge dent in the fight against climate change. However, is this the sort of infrastructure we can begin to see all over the world? Or will this be the only one of its kind to be built like this? Will we see more buildings like The Line in the future? The Line is arguably the coolest human innovation since the bidet. And if you heard that and scoffed at the idea of the bidet being an amazing human innovation, you clearly have never used a bidet. Anyway, while The Line may be impressive, it will be very hard to convert current standing cities to look and function like this. How can we expect cities like Tokyo, Shanghai, New York, Paris, Vancouver, Sydney, London, Toronto, Chicago, Mexico City, Rio de Janeiro, the list can go on and on and on, to turn into a line of their own. It would be nearly impossible to convert any major city to look and function like the line will. Not only that, but all of the cities I just mentioned are built to house millions of vehicles, which means that a great deal of the city's area is roadways. In order to make these cities lines, we would need to get rid of billions of dollars and kilometers worth of road, and then find a way to recycle or repurpose billions of vehicles, as there would be no use for them in a city built like the line. While I would love a full self-sustaining city model to take over the world and help the planet heal while also providing an incredibly high quality of life, it seems nearly impossible to convert major cities to fit this mold. However, that does not mean that we cannot use this model to help combat overpopulation and homelessness all over the world. Just because we cannot change major cities does not mean we cannot use this model. As I have already demonstrated, we cannot reasonably convert our cities to fall into this type of city. However, that does not mean that the line has to be a one-of-a-kind type of city. The line is 170 kilometers long and 200 meters wide, while being 500 meters above sea level. That means that in order to create another city like this, a country would only need to have 170 kilometers of open space in order to build their own line. And keep in mind that the line can sustain up to 9 million people living in it, which means that in theory, this type of city could solve the issue of overpopulation and homelessness. If each country were to make cities like this one, they could save space while also housing millions of people without having to tear down what they've already built. The amount of sustainable growth that each country could see using this method of building is astronomical. Imagine how many people could live in a high quality of life using this type of architecture. Not only that, but imagine the environmental impact we would see from 9 million people's carbon footprint adding up to 0, along with the fact that 95% of the city's space would be used for plant life. We could literally combat and potentially beat poverty, homelessness, and climate change all in one fell swoop. While it would not be easy and would certainly cost a great deal of money and time, it would ultimately lead to the creation of a better world. The downfall of many cities has been the fact that they've built out instead of up, which creates a transportation issue. The further you build your city, the harder it is to traverse it, which is what results in people needing a vehicle to commute to work, or else not be able to hold down a job due to lack of transportation to that job. Moreover, because these types of cities need vehicles in order to allow for its citizens to survive, it increases the amount of emissions being let off into the atmosphere due to the amount of idling and driving. Building cities like we have for the last eon of human existence is seemingly not going to cut it in the future. We simply have too many people and not enough space. But this type of architecture solves both of those issues, allowing us to house all of the Earth's citizens while reducing the amount of energy and fuel needed to do so. The fact that 9 million people could comfortably and sustainably live in an area that right now could never hope for housing that amount of people with the same sized carbon footprint is something that we need to be investing in and thinking of. Our future may depend on adopting this idea, and it seems inevitable that this sort of building is going to be in every country and possibly every city in the next 100 years. So why wait? Why can't we start now? Obviously, other countries will most likely wait to see how this type of living works in the line, but if it works and it attracts people, then I guarantee you that we will see the creation of millions of line equivalents all over the world. That's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the content, and we will see you all in the next video.